Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress. First, you will need to draw your basic pattern. So I'm going to insert a video on how to draw the basic pattern body. So you're going to draw the back and then you're going to draw the front. So this dress here, you see my back pattern here, it has the zipper allowance, just your basic body. I'm also going to insert a link on how to draw this pattern. So basically you're going to cut this one here on a fold. So this center here is going to be on a fold, right? So you're going to cut your front bodies and then it's going to have a dart. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to be using black and the mixture of this color here. So I'm going to cut this, trace this out. I already insert my seam allowance to the body of these bodies, so I don't have to add any seam allowance. I'm just going to cut it exactly how this is, using both the bust measurement and the waist measurement. As you can see, it's also going to have a breast dart here. So I'm going to trace that out on the black fabric, and then I'll come back and show you guys how you're going to cut the front part that has this asymmetric pattern in front. So guys, this is it here. This is the back, this is the front. As you can see, I've traced out my pattern here. The one in front is on a fold. So if I remove the pin now, you will see that this here is on a fold. And I also went ahead and notched the parts where I'm going to put my darts. So now all I have to do now is just the way it's open now, I'm going to go ahead and put in my darts, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 darts in front here. Once I put in my darts here, I'm also going to, you see, I notched the one for the back. I'm also going to put in the dart at the back. And then guys, you can put in any sleeve you want. This video is going to be a very short one because I just wanted to show you guys how you're going to do that front part without adding any back panel, without having any of the pattern at the back, right, for the bottom part. So this is the back. So all I have to do is just to pick my darts for the 2 sides of the back. Now I'm just going to attach a very short sleeve to it, but you can change the sleeve to whatever type of sleeve you want. But I'm just going to put just a very short sleeve to this because I'm doing this with just a small fabric, just to explain the front of this here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick another dart at the back here that will go up to this point, and then after that I'm going to insert a short sleeve to it. And after that I'll come back and show you guys how we are going to finish up the bottom, which is the main point of the video. So guys, for the sleeve, it depends on you if you want the sleeve on the thumbnail, but I just gave mine just a small sleeve that looks almost like a cap sleeve. Just a small sleeve like this is what I did for mine, but I'll show you guys how you can achieve the one on the picture. But I just gave mine a small sleeve here. So this is what I have here, just a small sleeve. I've also used bias to go around the neckline, and you can see I've also attached my darting in front and then the dart at the back. But you see, I didn't close up my side seam yet, because for the front I need to attach the bottom parts to the front before I close up this side seam. So before I do that, let me show you guys how you're going to cut the sleeve if you're trying to make it for the if you're trying to make the sleeve on the picture. So it depends on you, the length of the sleeve you want. So I'm going to use 10 as the example here. Let's say you decide to use 10 inches for the length of your sleeve. So you mark that here. You need extra 1.5 to make your casing at the bottom. So now we're at 11.5. You need to mark extra like let's say 2 inches on top of that, so that you can be able to make the puffiness at the top. You can do 3 inches or you can do 2 inches, it depends on you. So after marking that, that's basically it. So whatever your length is, the length of your sleeve is, you might need to add extra, like let's say 4 inches to that. And then the next thing you're going to do is, from the beginning of your sleeve, you're going to mark mark that 2 inches again, whatever you decide to use for your sleeve, the puffiness. So I used 2 inches here. You can do 3 if you want more puffiness at the top, and then you're going to mark 4 inches down. And now you're going to extend that line across, right? Extend it across, and then the one for the 3 inches, I'm going to, this is the beginning line of my sleeve. Then the 2 inches I marked for my puffiness, and then the this one here is now my cap height. So this is the basic sleeve here. So now what you're going to do is just to insert your armhole. So let's say the armhole I'm working with here divided by 2 is about 10 inches. And then I'm going to just draw my normal sleeve. I'm going to connect a straight line across here. and then find halfway through that straight line. So the straight line for me now is 11 inches. Half of 11 is 6.5. So all I have to do is just to mark a curve here and a curve here. This would normally be my don't mind this curve I'm making, just use a curve ruler, that would be better. A curve ruler to mark this point to this half line here, and then another curve ruler to place the curve ruler again to mark from this point to the end of the sleeve. But guys, now the next thing you're going to do is to add the extra on top, which is the extra 2 inches or 3 inches that you added for the puffiness. So to make the puff sleeve, I've made so many videos on how to make a puff sleeve. So now you're going to connect this top part here. It's 3 inches or 2 inches, whatever it is. This extra room that you have from this distance to here, you're going to connect it into this halfway line. That halfway line of this straight line here, you're going to connect it into that point. So that's basically our sleeve now. So from here now, you're going to connect to the end here. And then remember, you're going to still fold this part here to make a casing for a small elastic that you used to get at the edge. And then you're going to cut from this line all the way to the top, from the curve in here, and then all the way to the top. So that's basically how you cut the sleeve. So now what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and move over to cutting the skirt part. So to cut the skirt part of this here, it depends on you the length you want it to be. So let's say I want mine to be about 9 inches, right? I cut out 10 inches of width here, and the width I have here, I decided to use my hip measurement, but it's not like I'm going to mark this all the way to my hip, but just to be safe, the width of the fold here is my hip measurement. You can use your fabric directly, but I'm just using pattern to illustrate it. Now the next thing you're going to do is whatever your waist measurement was for this top part here, this is not going to have any darts. Remember, your top part has a dart, but the top part, the bodice in front here, it has 2 darts here. You see our dart, but I'm not going to be adding a dart here. Instead, what I'm going to do is just to measure from this point here, and then I'm going to insert my waist measurement. So let me see what I have. So let's say the waist I'm working with is supposed to be about 34, right? That's 34 inches is what I'm going to divide into 2. So 34 divided into 2 is going to be about 8.5. Since this one is not going to have that, normally you would add 2 inches, 1 inch of darting and 1 inch of side seam. But this one doesn't have any dart, so all I have to add here is just my 1 inch of seam allowance. And then I'm going to connect this here to the end of the cloth, right? I'm going to just move this down, connect it and blend it in this way, like this. Because from this point here to here is my hip line. So my hip line is supposed to fit in somewhere here now, 10 inches down. My hip line is somewhere here, so that's why I use my hip measurement. So all I have to do is just to connect from here to my hip. Normally, if it's like a pencil skirt now, from your hip, you will connect down this way, something like this, right? If you're making a pencil skirt, it would look coming down this way. Just like if it was a pencil skirt now, this would have gone down this way, come this way, and then it will connect this way, right? This would have been a pencil skirt. But since that's not what we are making, I stopped at the hip line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this excess out. And then after that, I'm going to notch the center because I need to know where the center part is. And then I'm going to mark it so that when I open it, I can know where the center line is, right? And then the next thing I want to do is to notch my dart, where the dart would normally be. Not that I'm trying to put in a dart, but just to know where the dart would be, because that's one point where my V, you know that V on the other side, that's where I'm going to insert it. So I'm just going to check from one point to another is nipple to nipple distance for me is 4 inches. So it's 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that means my dart will be somewhere here on both sides. So now that I've marked that, I'm going to, guys, you see the back panel here, it stops like at the back, but the front, what I did here is I just marked a straight line down on that part where we marked 4 inches of our dart. So this is where our dart is supposed to be, and remember we notched it. If you look here, you see we notched it. So I marked a straight line down from my dart, and then another straight line down from my dart on this side. So now if I open it now, I have my center line, which is this one on the center here, this part that I folded, and then I have this straight line coming down here and this straight line coming down here. Normally this would be where my dart would come in, because there's a 4 inches distance from the center. Remember, this is our center here. That's where this fold was before. There's a 4 inches distance from here to here, 4 inches distance from here to here, which is where our dart is supposed to be, right? Because the distance from one nipple to the other is 8 inches, and it was the same thing that we used for these bodies here. So guys, what I did was, from the tip of this side of the waist, I connected that line to the end of my one dart. It depends on which side you want the angle to be. You can choose this side, you can choose this side. So I'm trying to replicate the one on the picture, so I'm choosing to go with my right side, right? So I angled it down to this point, and then from this other side now, I angled it to this same point. So that's basically how I'm going to get the width I'm working with. So you just have to make the line to be visible this way. So now all I have to do is just to cut this out. So start from here now. I'm going to cut this. There's no seam allowance. Any seam allowance I need, I'm going to take it away from the body of this here, because I already added seam allowance on the waist. So I'm going to trim this exactly to be the same. But if you want, you can still add like half an inch seam allowance. It all depends on you, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to cut it exactly on the line, and then the same thing on this other side, cut it all the way. And then guys, the next thing you have to think of now is what you're going to use as your girder, right? So for me, I'm going to be using my fabric. You're going to cut it the same length, right? The same length of fabric you're using at the back is what you're going to use all over. So let's say you measure from your shoulder to your end of the dress, or maybe you decide to use your knee length. You're going to use the same girder all the way around. Whatever, if you decide to use 20 inches or 23 inches of width, just remember to add half an inch, 1 inch for folding this row of edge here. That's the edge that will be folding the floor, that will be facing the floor, and then half an inch to join this top part here to the tip of your dress, and just girder it. So whatever you decide to use, you're going to add 1.5 to it as the length, right? But then whatever you decide to use whatever you decide to use for the width, you might use your waist measurement times 3, so you can get enough girder. Guys, I think this style will be prettier if you use a fabric that is not Akara, because Akara has starch to it. It might not give you that flowiness, and it might look restricted because of the starch. But if you use like a crepe fabric, it will just flow down and it will swing around with the wind. So I think that will look nicer. Any fabric that has some movement to it than Akara. That's why I chose an Akara that is not too starchy. So guys, I'm going to go ahead now and trace this out on a black fabric. Once I trace this out now, it's going to be attached. So let me show you guys what I'm going to do. Once I trace this out, I'm going to trace it out the way it is. I'm going to take it and attach it to the waist of just the front. You see, on both sides, I didn't sew the front to the side. I left it open so that I can use half an inch here to join the waist of this together. Make sure you place each side of the dart to the other and place it this way, and join it using half an inch here to join the waist to this. Once you join it, then you can close it back. And then once you close it back, once you join this half part of it, it's now become the front of the dress like this, right? Now you can close up your side seam. Check that your waist measurement is the same, and then you can use the fabric to now start gathering it like how you normally gather your clothes, right? So first thing you're going to do now is to go and trace this out on your fabric. If you cut it directly on your fabric, that's fine. Then you're going to use half an inch at the waist like this to join this here. Just half an inch at the waist to join this to the body of this clothes, right? So you use half an inch seam allowance to sew it down, making sure that the dart is on each side of the dart. That's not like the dart, but the space you left for the dart where it's supposed to be. You will sew with this down into the seam allowance. Make sure that you didn't close up the two sides, because this is where the side is supposed to fall in. You make sure you leave it open this way. Once you sew it into the seam allowance too, then you can close up your side seam, and then you use your fabric to gather it. So I'm going to trace mine out and then gather it, put a zip at the back, and show you guys what it looks like. So guys, this is it here. I finished mine. I joined this part here and then I attached this flare all the way. So you see what it looks like, guys. Like I said, I was thinking Akara will not look nice on this, but I take it back, it looks good on this. But I just think a flowy fabric would be better. And yeah, so this is what it looks like at the moment. Like I said, you can change your sleeve to any type of sleeve you want, but the fabric I'm working with is not enough, so I had to just use something else. So this is the bag, and as you can see, the front is going to be longer. If you look at her picture here, you will see that the front, at the point where this joins, it goes down, like it's longer, it comes down like that, so you know that the front is longer. So it's the same length of flare that they used all over the dress. So this part here that drops is going to go down that way on your fabric. So this is what my back looks like. So you see, the back is attached directly to the body of the dress, just like how the back of her own is attached directly. And then there's my zip at the center back. So that's basically it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you guys so much and see you next time. Bye.